Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wired Nerdy Podcast, episode number 32. We're clicking right along here, Doug. How is your week finding you? How you doing?
Doing good. We had a good week in tech, a couple keynotes to talk about. Weather's changing. New tech for me, maybe on the horizon. Been thinking about a lot of things. We'll get into that in the future.
Something fancy. You're working on.
Yeah.
You're working on something cool, I bet. So
Yeah.
can't wait for that. But yes, there were a whole bunch of. I mean, we're coming on the heels of. I feel it was last week we had the Apple keynote event, and now when we get into queuing up the nerd news here, we've got some keynotes to go through, both the Microsoft and the Amazon keynote that we will be running through. So let's go ahead and cue up the nerd news, my friend.
Nerd news.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to have you go first. So go ahead and which one of these are we going to tackle first here? And let me go ahead and get my screen share up while you're setting the stage.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and tackle the Microsoft event. It seemed to be kind of the bigger announcements, a little more advanced technology stuff. The first thing that really caught my eye was, and of course, we've been talking about it all year, is Copilot AI. So it's a new AI by Microsoft, and they're going to use it as part of their Windows 11 update. We should be seeing that pushed out about September 26th. And I believe it's going to help you with searching for some of your files, looking for stuff on YouTube, writing some of your Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoints. I mean, the list goes on.
It's essentially a complete integration into Office and into Windows. So it's going to be integrated into Windows 11 with an update, I think, later this month, if I remember correctly. And so, yeah, you're right. It's them taking their investment into Chat GPT and putting it all throughout their threaded products, which Google's doing the same thing, but with their product suite, in that it'll help with Gmail. It'll help with theirs is a Bard, and they have another one, of course, that's a large language learning model. And essentially making it, they're starting to invest in these, and they're trying to make it to where, how do we get value out of them every day? And that's where you're going to start see the first part of this. And it's everything. It mentions you can ask it to go ahead and help remove a subject from the background of a photo. It'll help you. I thought was cool is if you had Office for work, right? Microsoft Office for your email, it can emulate your writing style, and it'll summarize a meeting, or it'll summarize your emails for you and then can respond for you, but in your writing style. Now, I don't know how well this will work. And I also wonder how lazy will that make people. So, but yeah, it's definitely them starting to integrate it into their entirety of their suite. What I thought was interesting, that they mentioned that they're integrating the image creator with the DALL-E. It's version 3 now. DALL-E was one of the first ones that was an AI image creator. It was really kind of weak. You have 20 fingers on a hand and all that. And it kind of blew my mind as to how well this thing does. And just as a quick example, if you'll indulge me, I'm going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to share another thing. We're going to do a live demo here.
Oh,
yeah.
We are getting fancy on the podcast. Everybody.
There we go. All right. So what you see here, if you have Bing, they've already got it integrated into Bing. That's what this is here. And if you click on the Bing icon, once you get inside of here, this is where you could just ask a general question. This is very much like Bard within Google, but this is running GPT. Okay, this is their investment in GPT. I think it's 4.0. But this is what's interesting. They've already started to update with the image integration. Now, every image will have something on it that said made with AI, which is their attempt to try to not fool people with misinformation. So right in here, I'm just going to put, make me a picture of, what do you think? A cat? What do you want it to eat?
Pizza or tacos.
Yeah. What's creepy is it said pizza right there.
Here, see, it already knows what I want.
Let's do tacos.
Oh.
And then I just hit enter. This is on the fly. I did one earlier with, it was a cat eating ice cream was the one that I had done.
And it came out really well?
It came out really well. We'll see how well this one does. So since we're switching, we're really going to push it. So right now it is calculating everything. And there you go.
Oh my gosh.
And so if I click it, you get a larger view here.
That's amazing.
And they look really good too.
Yeah, they do. Pretty
And,
sure I've seen my same cat in that same pose and everything.
I mean, big cartoonish,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and you can mix it up, even if we were to do another one, cat eating. Let's do the pizza.
Sure.
And you can see it doesn't take very long.
No, not at all.
I mean, once it processes it, look, I mean,
Oh, I mean,
it
pizza is way more. Yeah.
exactly. Now these are,
Uh,
well, these are internet pictures, I think. Here, I think I have to
oh, okay.
say, unless I only get the one here. Here we go. I told it, make me an image. I think I seen it's the wording. Make me a picture. I think it went out and did a search for internet.
Okay.
Yeah, see, that's what it's doing. I probably got one of the. Oh no,
Nope,
there it goes.
nope, there it goes.
There it goes. There it
Hey,
goes.
we got it.
This is fascinating. What's cool is you can even tell it, don't make it 3D looking. Make it look like anime. I mean, look at that.
Oh, there you go. Now I see
That
some similarities with the tacos.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah.
But it's just fascinating on the fly. I
It's very
mean,
nice. Yeah.
and there's little variances in it, but so that's a live demo example of the improvements that they've made with the integration into the image creation on this.
Yeah.
So
Very
I
nice.
wanted to show that real time. I just thought that was fascinating. All right.
Yeah, the possibilities for that are endless. And
Yeah,
we've
there's
talked
all kinds
about
of
it
stuff.
in the past. I hope they kind of say this was AI generated, not that someone putting in the directions for the AI machine isn't original, but it's not their own hand drawn creation.
No, and it's been trained on prior artwork, and that's where a lot of artists obviously get upset, and they should, because it's not original work. It's not the same as a person who actually drew it. It's basically simulating or copying things that it has seen. And so that's an important note there. But while this is typically for Microsoft a hardware event, their main computer type is called a Surface. They were very heavy into the AI Copilot, which they're of course trying to, get value to their customers and integrating it into their product suite, especially with Windows 11 later this month. Now they did have some hardware announcements. Have you ever messed with a Surface laptop, Doug? You ever messed with one at all?
I have a little bit, not enough to have a good opinion of it. It's kind of a tablet slash laptop all in one, right?
It can be. They have different models in the line. If I go back up here to this main picture here, so that's just their main line. But they have some that are that can detach, like the Surface Pro, and then they have the Surface Go, which is a relatively cheaper one. That's supposed to be very, very ultra portable. And then they have the Studio, which is more their professional line. Now, what caught my eye on the Studio, it folds like this. It's a laptop, but it can see the screen can be used as a tablet. All of them have touch interface, and you can write. But what's really cool is this has a NVIDIA GeForce 4060 in it. You could game on this thing.
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah. So the experience I've had, I've gotten to mess with a lot of them over the years. They're actually very well built, like premium, way better than Dell, way better than they cost a little more, but they're very well built. I would say their build quality is up there comparative to the Apples. That you pay a little bit more for them because they have like little features like this, but they're really good computers. And so it's
Yeah.
that whole get what you pay for kind of thing. So I've had nothing but, really good interactions with them. And, I really appreciate that they are continuing their line because I think they're a good alternative, especially for businesses and that sort of thing. So,
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
so yeah, so their whole thing was really about what they're doing with AI, where they're going, in their new Surface line on it. But I thought they did a really good job on this for the most part.
Yeah. After that, they kind of wrap things up. Some of the other features are Windows Ink Anywhere.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just a kind of a programming, I think, to take a pen anywhere.
Hmm.
So, say you need to sign, I think the example they gave is signing a PDF document. So, instead of putting in your digital signature, your pen will let you sign anywhere and you can sign that actual document, save it, and then send it back to whoever needs it.
Yeah, and that's really pushing the touch interface that they have with almost all of their devices, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah, they have some cool like adaptive items. They have they mentioned that they're putting in what they call an adaptive mouse in it, which what's really cool is that the adaptive mouse is really good for people with disabilities. So they're
Mhm.
trying to make it
Yeah.
more accessible, which I think is awesome. Um, so yeah, and kind of pricey. I mean, of course, this one's got the 4060 GPU in it. It starts at $2,000, but I mean, like I said, that's gaming class. I mean, but
Oh, yeah, 2
yeah,
terabytes of storage, 64 gigs of RAM. I mean,
yeah, you
that
could
seems amazing.
you could do some pretty cool stuff. I love that they're putting in a decent
Mhm.
GPU into this before. Instead, just like an Intel one, they're actually using NVIDIA. But this is really good too, especially if you're a content creator. If you're doing anything with video editing,
Oh, yeah.
you can
All
do all
that
that on the
power
go.
that you need in the backside, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's pricey, but when you look at the specs, like you said, 2 terabytes of SSD storage. It's got the latest i7 13th
Mhm.
gen, and 64 gigs of RAM. That's crazy. I mean,
That's
it's really good.
whopping, yeah.
Yeah. So that's you know, pricey, but if you wanted that touch screen interface as well, you could also game on it. So it makes it very, very versatile. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, they had a really good conference, I would tend to say. And it'll be interesting to see just exactly where they're going to go, with their co-pilot. I'm interested to see like how they do this.
Yeah. I gotta give a shout out to my boy, Clippy from back in the day. If people don't know, Clippy was a paperclip in
It's my
Microsoft
friend.
Word, and it kinda did a couple other things. And, I think they missed an opportunity here to bring back our boy Clippy, but
I
that's
think
okay.
I think you've mentioned this more than once. Yeah, this was when you
Yeah,
would go to the help, this little
yeah.
animated clip paper clip, and he runs a lot of help. I'll be honest with you, not very often.
He wasn't very helpful, but you had a nice little buddy there hanging out with you.
Yeah, they
It would've
might.
been better if he judged what you were writing.
That would be hilarious, especially with the Chat GPT. Like they could give him
Doing a, resume or something, he'd be like, "Do you really wanna
dude,
put that
don't
on
put that.
there?"
I
Yeah,
don't think that's wise. You didn't do
yeah.
that.
No, yeah, no, 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 yeah.
That'd be really funny. Actually,
Alright.
that is interesting if they wanted an assistant like that and they were to integrate the Chat GPT into it. I bet it would make it definitely.
That would probably make it wild, and then if they could, have modders put some stuff into it.
Oh yeah, which they
Yeah.
would whether they were asked to or not. So
Oh,
that would be
absolutely. Yeah.
would be interesting.
Well, that
Uh,
about wraps it up for
yep,
the Microsoft event. Yeah, the next event, we're gonna talk about is the Amazon event, last week. They had a lot of hardware announcements, not too much AI. They talk about it a little bit, but we'll get
just a
into
little bit.
that.
Hmm.
The first big thing off the bat, I think, was the Echo Show 8. To explain that for everybody, it's kind of a little
It's a home assistant.
tabletop
Hmm.
AI assistant. I think you can do video chatting with other Amazon devices. I know
Yep.
my mother uses this to talk to my sister a lot.
Hmm.
Video chatting right there in the kitchen. It works really well.
Yep. We have
Plays
one.
your music, plays your books.
Yep. We don't
Uh,
have this model. We have an earlier model. Love it. You can tell it to play TV. You can do your audiobooks. You can say, "Show me the front door." If you have a Ring camera, shows
that's
you
pretty
who's at
cool.
your front door. You can look all around the house with it. Like with any security cameras you have, you can talk to people that have other devices. If you integrate your phone to it, you can send text messages. You
Oh,
can make
that's
phone
really
calls.
cool.
You can. There's just so much to it. I mean, it's pretty versatile. It's like a smart TV, think of it that way, but way better because it has the Alexa built into it. So yeah, it's cool. So this is a new version of it. Yeah,
Yeah, I think they also have. Yeah, I'm reading here. They have a photos edition
they
that
do.
works like a digital photo frame. Those were pretty big back 5, 10 years ago, and I still see a couple of them now. But with so many smart devices, you don't really need just a photo frame by itself. You have a smart TV that when it goes to sleep mode, it plays all your photos and stuff like that.
Yeah, the real kicker with this was that they announced and it caught a lot of people by surprise. If you're unaware, if you are an Amazon Prime customer, you have unlimited photo storage so that you can back up your photos. So that's really cool. I've not used it myself. But if you're a Prime customer, you can do that. That's number one. Number two, you can integrate those photos in something like this and have digital frames. But it surprised people. It's going to cost $10 more in a subscription service for you to do that. And that really surprised a lot of people, because typically Amazon's pretty good about you know the way they do this. So that was felt a little nickel and dimey. So we'll see how long that stands with this. But that was the one gotcha that a lot of people were not happy about with the new Echo Show. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, that is interesting. They charge because, like I said, the smart TVs and other devices already kind of do a photo slideshow for you.
Yeah, yeah, they do.
So unless they put something kind of better, more enhancements, more features in there, I don't know that it's worth the $10 price tag.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that's received. So one of the other items they had was, and this one's kind of fuzzy, was the Echo Hub. Essentially, the idea is to have a single panel that you can mount on your wall or have sitting on a desk that allows you to control your smart home. So
Hmm.
we've talked about on the show, right? You've got your robot vacuums, you've got your thermostats, you've got your cameras for your security system, you've got your digital assistants, you've got your smart TVs.
All
All
kinds of
of
stuff.
this is supposed to be able to control that with like these widgets.
Hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. I mean, about $180, which, honestly, price
Not
point
bad.
ain't bad.
Yeah.
So it's still very early on. They only had demos of it at the conference. And so most of the things you read, a lot of reviewers didn't get a chance to get their hands on it for very long. So they don't know exactly how well it does. But, for turning on your lights, off lights and all that, it's interesting to have this because honestly, right now, even with my Alexa, I can do a lot of that with just my voice. So I don't know
Yeah.
if there's just an intrinsic value in having this mounted on your wall. We'll see. But I appreciate what they're trying to do with bringing the home together with it. So
Yeah, I think the more devices you have at home, the better that would be, kind of not that you forget, but remembering, oh, I have these lights under AI control or smart control. I have this TV, this thermostat. So I think that'd be very helpful. Kind of put it in a central location.
yeah,
Maybe have some kid locking controls. Your kids aren't there messing with the lights and the thermostat and stuff.
yeah, yeah. Let's see. This one I think is well. Before we get to that one, it's an honorable mention. You can watch live TV on Echo Show for free. So that's kind of nice if you just
That is
tell it,
cool.
hey, yeah. So it's something called Fire TV channels, essentially. Again, if you're a Prime customer, it says here that they've got live shows, music, sports from over 420 different providers. So that's cool. You just tell it to watch TV, and it'll start playing like the news, or America's Tech Kitchen. They mentioned some things like that. So I think it's cool that they're doing that. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
this is the next one's the one that I really want to dig into because I've been anticipating them doing this. I think I even said it not too long ago on one of the episodes. The whole AI thing, where I think we're going to see it make a difference is going to be when they start to integrate it into our smart assistants. And that was this. They said Amazon is set to have a supercharged Alexa with generative AI. And it says here, after the fall event, the company revealed that the all-new Alexa voice assistant, which is going to be trained in the large language model, which, by the way, Alexa is already probably the most advanced of the ICE because of the way that they train it. A lot of people are like, well, that's because they listen to everybody. Well, that's probably true. But the
Yeah.
Alexa can understand conversational phrases and respond appropriately, interpret context more effectively, and complete multiple requests from one command. So the big thing on this is that I've read stories about people who already have conversations with their Alexa devices. This is going to make it even more engaging because especially if it can remember what you said, it understands context better. I think this here will be where we start seeing the shift a little bit of the integration of AI into our lives a little more. You do this combined with like what Microsoft and Google are doing with putting it into their product suites, like Office. But I
Mhm.
think this is where we're going to start seeing that pivotal moment. So
Yeah, I use my Alexa a lot, from anywhere to, oh, we have a question, or, we watch a show. Oh, what's that about? Tell me a little more about that. I use it a little bit for my smart home. I don't have a lot of things, but I think it already does a great job of follow up questions and
oh yeah,
continued conversation. So
better than Siri.
integrating this AI, I think it's going to just make it even more amazing.
Yeah, we use it all the time. Grocery
Yep.
list. You say, "Hey Alexa, add carrots to the grocery list." We use it for
Hmm.
that. Music, we play music all the time in the house, and
Yeah.
and then on top of that, dude, just how to spell something. Sometimes I'll, if I'm in the middle of writing something and I don't want to mess with spell check or anything, I'll do that. Or measurement conversions when we're cooking. How
Yeah.
many ounces are in this and that, and math all the time. What's this divided by?
Yeah.
If I'm just thinking out loud, even in the shower about like something, and I'm like, hey, I wonder what's the size of this or math. I'll ask, dude. It is very
Yeah.
helpful. I can't imagine how much more helpful it could be whenever they start to integrate this. So I'm interested in it. It's got me, interested. Curiosity's peaked. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, you blew my mind when you said you have multiple of these devices and you kind of do a broadcast in your
Yep.
house.
Yeah, it's an intercom
That
system.
sounds awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. We do it every day, every night.
Yeah.
We just say make an announcement, and
Yeah.
since we have one in every room, we have. And I want to be clear: the ones in the bedrooms do not have cameras on them or anything like that. No invasive. It's only the audio ones, but we use them as intercom systems. And if we want to get a hold of one person, we just say, Alexa, drop in on so and so's room,
Oh,
and
that's
then
really
it's a
cool.
one-way conversation. So you can make broadcast announcements to everybody, or you can drop in. And the cool thing, you can do that from anywhere. So if you have the Alexa app on your phone, we've had moments where we want to get hold of one of the kids. All of our kids are older, so they're able to be home alone, much
Hmm.
older. So, but if they're not answering their phone and we really need to get a hold of them, like have them check on something, we'll make an announcement. Like we don't know what room they're in, and it'll announce it all through the house, no matter where they are. Or if we know, say, drop in on so and so's room, we can have a conversation with them that way. It's really handy. It's really handy
That
when you
is
have a
really
household
cool.
like that. Yep. Yep. And you can tell it
I
to
like it.
broadcast music all through the house. If you don't want it to just be in the kitchen, you can say, play this music downstairs or upstairs or all through the house. And what's neat is when you're cleaning and stuff, going all over, it's the same song, always in sync, no matter where you go. It's a cool device. I really like. I know a lot of people gets a lot of hate because of paranoia, privacy, and that sort of thing. But I'm not
Yeah.
doing anything that I'm trying to hide.
I mean,
So
my thought and going out on a limb here is if you're not a criminal, you're not a terrorist. I mean, what's it hurt that FBI, CIA's listening? They're probably going to say, well, these aren't terrorists. These aren't criminals. On
I
to the
know.
next house.
Well, and the reality is privacy is a myth. It went away like in the late 90s.
Oh, yeah.
So even if you
Yeah.
don't have one of these, I will bet you
I
when you go
mean,
to the ATM to get cash, you're on a camera.
yep. Yep.
I mean, come on. They're everywhere anyway.
Privacy
So
is a non issue to
it's a
me,
myth. It doesn't, yeah. So
so
anyway,
that's for another show.
it is another show. Don't get on soapbox. But I think this was it.
Yeah.
This was a quiet announcement. I think this will be the most impactful though. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Because so many people use it. So
The
yeah.
next thing I saw, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the next thing what I'm kind of interested in is a sound bar. Sound bars,
We'll get to
ever
that.
since kind of the flat screen TVs have come out,
Mhm.
they've gone through several iterations. This one looks really good. It comes with the
24
assistant.
inches.
I'm
Yeah.
losing my train of thought here, but yeah. So it starts out about $120.
Mhm.
It says it's got some really good sound, kind of that 3D surround audio. Kick
Yep.
it out to the sides, wrap it around you.
Yep. The Atmos, I think Dolby Atmos. The price point's pretty good. Now, the competitor in this space is, I think, Vizio. They have one that's about $100. That's kind of the leader in this space. But this one, they market it as, I guess there's Fire TVs, which essentially just has the streaming service stuff built into it, and it's supposed to work really well with those. But they emphasize that it works well with non-Fire TVs as well. Any smart TV. It's got audio optical out. It's also can do audio through HDMI, and it can do audio with Bluetooth. I don't know. It's about 24 inches long, but I think this is kind of neat. This is kind of neat what they have.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about the integration with Alexa and that sort of thing. Like I was just mentioning, am I going to be able to play my music if I tell Alexa to play? Is it going to play it on the soundbar too? I'm curious about that. I don't know how far that goes. I don't have a Fire TV, so I don't know what that is, but I'm interested in this as well because we have like a side little room that has a soundbar now, but it's a real cheapo one, and I would like to replace it someday. So this may be a good candidate for that.
Yeah, kind of sticking with the Fire Stick. They have two new Fire Sticks coming out: the
They
4K
do.
and the 4K Max.
If I can find it here, the picture of it.
Yeah, I believe it's
There it is.
closer to the bottom. There you go. I believe they both come with a remote. You also have a Alexa assistant on there. You can see in the picture for those watching us in the video. The blue button at the top, kind of hold that, speaking to the top of the thing. It's really cool to find your shows not only on Amazon, but I've seen it works on Netflix and Hulu and all the other subscribers as well.
I've always liked Fire Sticks, but I've always had a big complaint about them. When you compare it to Roku or you compare it to Apple TV, they up to this point they're slow. Like there is
Yes.
a deliberate delay when you push the button to navigate for what you want, and so they're slow. They're underpowered. But now it looks like they're throwing in 16 gigs of storage. I think they're trying to beef them up. So, if they're faster, I think they'd be a good alternative. They're very space savvy too. They literally are a stick that just plugs into your HDMI.
Yeah, so what do you use now? I have the Google Live TV stick. It's like the Chromecast, but a
hmm
little upgraded version.
Yeah, Apple TVs, which I know
Yep.
you're not surprised because I'm a big Apple ecosystem guy. No, Apple TVs, and I absolutely love them. I've messed with Roku boxes. They're good too. Roku does a very good job. They're more cost effective, and they just have a little more oomph and responsive time in the way that they, again, compared to this. But this new one may solve that problem. So
Oh,
yeah. But I use Apple for now. So going back to our next item. So this was interesting to me. Sometimes they have the most random things. They have
yeah.
Amazon new Echo frames, but essentially they're glasses that have audio built into them. So, and the Alexa assistant. So you can listen to music through your glasses, which Bose had a pair of these. So these aren't new in way of the technology type, but it's new for Amazon to do. But the cool thing is it also has Alexa built into it. So I guess you could ask questions and it would sound. But they're about $269. So, but they don't look bad though. They look like
No,
nice
they don't.
frames.
The first thing I thought when I read this was another Google Lens. If some of you remember, Google Lens had the little screen in front, but this is more just kind of fancy headsets.
For
It'd
audio,
be
yeah.
for audio. Yep, it would be really cool to see prescriptions. If people could drop their prescription lenses in there, that'd be
I'm sure
really
you could.
nice.
Yeah.
Not just a really expensive pair of sunglasses or
Yeah.
glasses for blue light filter like a computer or electronics and stuff.
I'm sure you can do that. I'm sure that's an option in these. And these style, like this has been around for a while. They talk about Meta Stories glasses and Bose frames line. So this isn't new. It's just their take on it. So it's an
Yeah.
interesting little a niche market in my opinion. Most people don't know it, but Amazon has the Eero. I don't know if I ever say that, or Aero. That is a Wi-Fi router. They announced new lines of that. Which the cool things about these are mesh. What that means is if you have a decent sized house, you can put them on different floors of your home, and it picks up wirelessly the uplink, and you can expand your coverage by buying multiples of these because it's like a mesh network. So they say it can go anywhere from 2,500 to 7,500 square feet with a
Oh
three
man.
pack of these. So wide coverage, and of course they're pushing the latest Wi-Fi 7. So Wi-Fi 6 is barely even out yet, and they're already pushing 7. So that was
Yeah, I
interesting.
don't even have that. Yeah.
Yeah, most people don't. It's pretty new. So you take the next one. And this one seems right up your alley too.
Yeah, the Ring's cameras.
Mhm.
I've never had a Ring. I have the WYZE cameras. Really good price point for me and really good recordings. It's HD. I can zoom in pretty good. But they look really nice. They kind of stick up anywhere. They don't require a power cord, I don't believe. They
That's
have
right.
some battery packs.
Yep.
And then the fancy thing, though, is radar detection for motion detection or radar sensors for motion detection.
It's more sensitive. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I use these. Are great. They're great camera lines. I really like them. So this is just the next iteration of them to help with motion detection, make them more sensitive. I mentioned something about it can do because of the radar detection, it can detect 3D objects, meaning, I guess people, animals,
Yeah.
things of that sort a little better probably. So I thought that was interesting. It's good that they're doing that.
Yep.
And of
Then
course,
they
go ahead and take on this
announced some
next
more
one.
speakers.
Yeah, more speakers. They got
More
lots
speakers.
of speakers. They got
There's it seems so many different styles
Oh
for
yeah,
every
yeah.
household.
They've got the smart speaker that has like a clock on it. They have one
Mhm.
for kids that you can put in the room that's kid safe. And then they also have, I thought this was interesting. It's the Amazon Emergency Assist. It allows people to basically get help if they need it. So you can just say, Alexa, call for help. Now, it doesn't tie directly into 911 services. There's a lot of laws and regulations related to that, but it does cost. It's like $6 a month or $59 for a whole year, which ain't bad.
Yeah.
I think this would be good for elderly if you fall.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yep.
Yeah. And so they do have an operator on standby. That's an urgent response. Think of it like old school operators, and then they'll connect you into 911 services if you need. They first assess the situation. If you've fallen and somebody broken in, don't know. It's kind of cool they're getting into this. I like the variety. I think it's cool.
I do too. Yeah.
So yeah, I always kind of thought that you could ask Alexa to do this as well, but don't quote me on that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Yeah.
I don't know if this is for those that don't have an Alexa, or maybe the Alexa can't. I'd have to do some Googling and find out. So I don't know the details on that. So what else are we missing here? There's quite a few.
The
of
other
these.
thing I saw was a new Fire tablet for kids. I don't know if it's on that
It's
website
on the,
you got there.
Yep, it is. It's on the next page, I believe. You are right.
Oh, right.
Let me get to it for those of you that are watching us on YouTube. Here we go. Fire Pro for kids. Now they've always had these, right? But this is just a new version of it, I think.
I think so. They've kind of beefed up the hardware a little bit, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm. Yeah, it looks like
They
it.
have 25% faster is what they're claiming. It's got the new version of Fire HD.
13 hours of battery life.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
32 gigs of RAM
Mhm.
or storage space. The thing about these is made for kids. These are so tough. I've had some nephews and some other friends with kids that have these, and they just seem indestructible.
Yeah, they really are. They're perfect for kids, and they wrap it in. At least the prior ones, they wrap it in like a foam casing, so you like throw the
Mhm.
things on the ground, almost like a Nerf material. It's pretty cool.
Oh, I've picked them up. They've got Cheerios and spaghetti and all kinds of stuff on them, and they're just working just fine. Just
Yeah, that's awesome.
slide that off and keep playing.
And then as a side of that, they have an Avengers, Marvel Avengers, and then also a Disney Princess. It looks like a new Echo Pop. It's called. The new Echo Pop is $50, and it includes the Amazon Kids service. Now, what's cool about that? It's only kid appropriate material, but they can have character themes, like so it talks in certain voices. Whether
Oh, that'd
it's
be really cool.
like it tells them bedtime stories, musical elements, fun facts, and exclusive audiobooks for kids. And it also has safety features in place. But what's cool is like telling bedtime stories, and so it's kind of neat that they're doing that as well.
Yeah. And that about wraps up the Amazon keynote, I thought.
It is. There's one last honorable mention that caught my eye at the very end of this article. And they didn't spend too much time on it. It's called Character AI. Don't know if you caught this one.
I do not.
So you can already chat simulated with what's famous people on an Alexa with a chat bot, but this Character AI is coming to Alexa powered devices, which means you can have conversations with famous people alive and dead or fictional.
Oh, man.
Like Aristotle, and you can ask them questions. And the author said, I, for one, cannot wait to ask Frodo how he feels about current events in the United States.
I can only imagine.
So they're I thought that was weird, but interesting. But that's taking the, especially if it's famous people, you're going to take their voices. I'm sure they would have had to agree to it. And you can have a conversation with them with their voices, whether it's Morgan Freeman or whatever. But then also you can do it with fictional characters as well. So, I mean, I don't know. That was a weird one. I had to bring that one up.
That is very strange.
I think these companies are trying to figure out what to do with AI, and they're just getting kind of creative. Like,
Just kind of all kind of fun stuff.
throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks and what people like.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Absolutely.
So, all right, man, that's a lot. They had a lot of information in both of those events. So, all right, man, on to our next topic. Now, this is one that we've had on our radar for a while, and we wanted to talk about. And it's about DOS games. DOS, of course, had the market share of just tons and tons and tons of games. There is a project called eXoDOS. What this is, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s and you played DOS games, this is essentially a preservation project where they're trying to make sure that a lot of the DOS games don't get lost, and as a result, everybody gets the benefit. They can play them. We're talking up to 7,200 DOS games. It is a large download. Now you got two options. You can do straight up eXoDOS full, or you can do what's called light. Now full is over 560 some odd gig. Now what that does is when you download it, all of the DOS game, you get the entire library locally. So you got to have a lot of storage. The light version is about 52 gig. And what it does is it brings down the software in the library. But whenever you pick and choose what games you want, and it goes out on the net and it grabs them. So you don't have the whole library and you can pick and choose what you want. I started with that when I tried it. And it is a very, very cool project. And you can donate because it doesn't cost anything. That's the best part. And there's instructions on how to get the full and the light version. You have to do what's called a torrent. Now, if you're unaware, torrent is a way of sharing software. You have to be careful with them because sometimes there can be pirating. I highly suggest you go to the retro-exo.com. That's the eXoDOS. We'll put all this in the show notes if you're interested in playing with this at all. And it can run on any modern computer. And what they do is they use, there's a program called DOSBox, and it basically emulates a DOS computer so that it runs at the right speed, has right drivers. And the best part is, because you can go do DOSBox now, but you have to usually configure it yourself when you play a DOS game. It has all the configurations. So in fact, I will say everything I've launched out of this project when I downloaded it works. Everything works flawlessly. It's a turnkey. Now you get there's instructions out here on their website. They'll explain you do have to download a torrent software that allows you to basically go out and grab the file, and it grabs it from a bunch of computers that are shared on the internet. And as long as you just follow these directions exclusively, you'll be fine. Safe. It's very safe as long as you follow these. But the interface is, and for those of you watching on YouTube or on Spotify, I've got a video going here. It shows the interface. You essentially can search any of these 7,000 games. And I was a huge DOS person. And so this is big for me just because anything I try to search, you'd find. I found most everything that I wanted to, and it's all playable. What's really cool that they added in the latest version is there's games like Secret of Monkey Island. And it had a cardboard. Back then, they tried to do copy protection because you could copy floppy disk. And they had this cardboard wheel that would come with the game. And they essentially took it and put it in a PDF file.
Oh,
and
it's really cool.
So you can get all of the original scanned manuals and all of the copy protection for DOS games. Now, there's a lot of controversy because a lot of people are saying, well, is this piracy or is it preservation? For me, a lot of these games are they're so old. They're well beyond the copyright infringement. You can get them free anyway on the internet. So I love what they're doing. I think it's great. You can create your own dynamic playlist, meaning that if you just want to have first person shooters like Duke Nukem 3D, Doom, Quake, you can have them all summarized and make your own. It's kind of like your own little mini Steam inside this. So you can sort by publisher. It's so cool. And the best part is pretty much anything you launch works. So I don't know if you played much with a lot of DOS games, or if you've messed with this a little bit, haven't you?
I have the light version. It works amazing. It's looking like the same that you're showing up on the screen share there. DOS games, I'm a little bit younger than you are, but I still had my fair share of DOS games. You've already mentioned Doom, Quake, amazing. The other ones I have to add, Command and Conquer started out on DOS.
Oh yeah.
Wolfenstein 3D, and I mean the titles keep going on and on and on. The first SimCity, just hours and hours and hours of memories and fun, and they had a couple online games at the very end when DOS was about to die, so it was really cool.
Oh yeah, it's so cool. There's so many really good DOS games, and a lot of the games that
Absolutely.
we have today is just because of these DOS games. So if you're in a DOS, right here, if you're watching the video, they're booting up Doom, and it plays in a box, and you can make it full screen if you want. But this is a cool project. If you ever just want to tinker and you want to go down nostalgia and you don't want to mess with a lot of the files, it does take a long time to download. I will warn you that. I've done both the light version and I recently did the full version. Now, what I did was I bought a SD card. I think it was a terabyte SD card, relatively cheap. And I put it into a spare laptop that I had. And then I downloaded the full version, the 800 gig version, and I put it on there. And all the games are there. It is awesome. Now that I'm running I think version 4 or 5. I think they're up to version 6 now of eXoDOS, where they added even more games. But the downside is I got to re-download it all and do it again. I think I haven't looked into the upgrading aspect of it, but it's one of those things that I definitely encourage you that if you want to do nostalgia games, it doesn't cost anything. It's just an investment of your time. But my biggest frustration with a lot of the DOSBox stuff is you had to go in, and that's what on the video we have playing, he's one of the main creators of the program. He's explaining how they already have presets in there. So it'll ask you certain questions. They already have it preset. Like, you don't have to know your Sound Blaster 16 settings. They've done all the hard work for you. And this is a community of people that's come together to make sure that every one of these games work out the gate. Now, one of my projects that I'm going to do here is I've got this working on a laptop, and I've got them all on that, that drive. And anytime I take that laptop with me, I've got like 7,000 games with me, right?
Oh, that's amazing.
It's
Yeah.
so cool. I want to get this working in some form or fashion on my Steam Deck. So that's going to be my next step. Now, I can't do this eXoDOS because I think it uses an executable. And on my Steam Deck, I'm running Linux, and it doesn't do executables in the same way. But what I am going to do is something similar where there's a service called Good Old Games. Let me go ahead and find that. And what that is a service. It's just like Steam. And you can buy modern games on it, right? But it also has old games. So as you know, I'm a Wing Commander fan here. I've got it open
Oh,
on the
yeah.
screen for those of us who only listen by audio. And you can see they have all the old games here.
Not a
And
bad price either.
yeah, like they're selling them cheap. And the cool thing is this is really good because it also has all of the settings for DOSBox. So when you go to launch the game, it's going to work. Now, there's a way for me to get this on my Steam Deck, and I'm going to tinker with it and try to. I have a bunch of DOS games I've bought with this. I'm going to try to get it working on my Steam Deck, so that I can play it on the go as well.
That'll be
But
great.
but the eXoDOS, my advice on that: put it on your laptop. You can even put it on thumb drive. It launches independently off of that device. So if you were to go ahead and download this, you can put it on a thumb drive, put it into any computer. You just double click the executable, and then you're able to use it, and the entire library is there if you have the full version. So it's really slick. And on like the version you have, the light version, if you click Doom and it goes out to download Doom, it'll install it on that stick, on that thumb drive or SD card. It's very versatile. So if you're into old retro games and this is free and you just want to play a bunch of them, or if you have kids and you want to show them what old games are like, this is a cool project and it's free. I just keep saying that over just because it blows my mind that you can do this. So
Yeah, I think it's great.
yeah, this is definitely one we wanted to showcase for a while now. And I think I stumbled upon it on accident. They do have a channel out on YouTube. We'll put the link in the show note if you're interested in it, and has all the guides and instructions. So if you're a tinker, just want to mess with it. And the cool thing is you don't have to have like a fancy gaming computer. This will run on anything because the games are so
Nice.
old. So that's kind of nice. You don't, if you just have a computer sitting around the house and you just want to play around with it, this is a fun little project to do if you're looking for something to tinker with.
Absolutely.
All right, Dougie. What else we got?
Yeah. I think that about wraps it up for this week.
I agree. We're having fun doing this. So don't forget, we do have a merch store. As always, the link is going to be inside of the show notes. As always, we'll make sure we get all the stuff with eXoDOS listed inside the show notes as well. So you don't have to go searching for it. And we're excited about some upcoming topics that we're working on. And that wraps it up for episode number 32. Doug, bring us home, man.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening. Like I said, check out our merch store. A couple items I actually want in there. Getting cold. We got some really
We
good
did talk
hoodies
about
and
that,
stuff.
didn't we? I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Get me a hoodie. My daughter she had a hoodie she bought, and she was home visiting, and she had put it on and said, "Hey, look, this is," because I hadn't seen it in person. It looked really, really good. Now I want one.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go out there and get one.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next week.
All right, everyone. Have a good week. Take care.
See ya.